The Xabi Alonso era at Real Madrid is underway. And off the back of a shit season that we just had, where we got embarrassed in La Liga by Barcelona, lost every El Clasico, had to watch them win the domestic treble, we got embarrassed in the Champions League, knocked out in the quarterfinals, losing 5-1 on aggregate to Arsenal, we all knew that this squad was not good enough. We knew that the club were going to be very active in this summer window. And we've already made some big signings. Trent Alexander-Arnold is coming in. Dean Huijsen is going to be there as well. Alvaro Carreras is being worked on as we speak. And even though the main focus needs to be on the defense, there's been a lot of reports from big outlets suggesting that Real Madrid want to address that midfield. They want a player that can take over from that Toni Kroos role. Now, we know that we missed Toni Kroos this season, right? Like, our midfield was lacking that creativity. We need that deep-lying playmaker that's going to be able to find Mbappe, Jude, Vinicius when they're making these runs. We're going to need somebody in that midfield that's going to be able to create chances from deep. And I think that us not signing a Toni Kroos replacement when he initially retired was a massive mistake. And we got embarrassed for it over the last 9 months. But the club are moving very aggressive, and I love it. Now, we got to talk about a potential Galactico, because that's been the word that I've seen get thrown out when it comes down to this midfield signing. And we're going to talk about it because Enzo Fernandez is a name that's being heavily linked to Real Madrid. And I don't know about you guys, but I believe he is the perfect signing for this midfield. Get in the comment section and let me know what you think about Enzo Fernandez, and does he fit at Real Madrid? Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those post notifications. We're going to go through a few reports, and we're going to talk about the potential Galactico midfielder that the club signed. Let's get it. As I said, the term Galactico is being thrown around when talking about a potential midfielder. Now, when we speak about what a Galactico is, it's generally a player that's considered the best at their position, an absolute megastar. And when I look at the midfield market, there's not many players that I think are attainable in the position that we need that can be classified as a Galactico, right? But there are players that do have that high profile and do check off other boxes. And when I'm looking at deep-lying playmakers, Enzo Fernandez is the guy. I think he's just as good as Pedri, if not better. Enzo's passing is right up there. Enzo's creation, the way that he's able to link play, his technical ability, his ball striking, he is a baller. And the reason that people don't rate Enzo Fernandez as highly as they should is because he plays at Chelsea, right? He's playing for a team that struggled since he's gotten there. Now, Enzo Fernandez was a guy that Real Madrid were looking at before the World Cup. And then he went there with Argentina, was amazing, and then got a massive move to Chelsea. And they 100% overpaid. Enzo Fernandez was never worth the $105 million that Chelsea ended up spending during that January window. But World Cup tax. So we were never going to match what Chelsea paid for him. Now, I would say that he's not lived up to that money. And I think there is a possibility for us to go in and sign this guy. Now, we have to make contact, and he does have a long-term deal at Chelsea, which would make it very hard. But I think Enzo Fernandez would force this move. But let's talk about some of these reports. Now, they're saying that Real Madrid are planning to make a Galactico signing this summer. They want a superstar midfielder. Let's keep it going. It says Real Madrid have decided to spend a lot of money on a midfielder this summer. Now, I don't think we'll sign a midfielder before the Club World Cup. I think we'll go into that tournament with 3 new players: Huijsen, Trent, and Alvaro. I would be very surprised if we brought in a high-profile midfielder before that tournament starts. I feel like that's a after the tournament kind of signing. And when I look at that profile that we need in the midfield, right, we were linked to Florian Wirtz. He's going to Liverpool. But we don't need an attacking midfielder. We don't need somebody that is a box-to-box, right? Like, we have those areas covered, right? In the 10, we got Arda, we got Jude, we got Brahim Diaz. As in box-to-box midfielders, we got Camavinga, we got Valverde. I have Jude that can also play in the 8 and do a very good job. So it's a very specific kind of player that we need. Now, I've seen Angelo Stiller get thrown out there, and I do like Angelo Stiller. I would take him at Real Madrid. I believe that he is that Toni Kroos profile of player. But the reason that I'm focused on Enzo Fernandez is because they've said Galactico. They've said they want to spend a lot of money. Enzo Fernandez would cost a lot of money, right? Chelsea would be looking to get some of their money back that they spent on him. And I don't think he's worth that much. But we know that Florentino Perez, he likes to splash the cash when he feels it's necessary. Again, not having Toni Kroos, Madristas, you guys know how much we missed this kind of profile. Now, the reports also now confirm, breaking, Real Madrid are interested in Enzo Fernandez. And I know a lot of people don't rate him as highly as I do. They like to throw out the racismo allegations. Do I believe Enzo is racist? No. I think he's ignorant, right? The Argentinian national team, when they sung that song trying to banter the French players, it's banter. It's ignorance. But racist? No. If you're racist, why the hell would he sign for Chelsea? There's nothing but black players in that squad. There's a bunch of French black players as well, and they all seem to love the guy. What are we doing here? Chelsea is Mandem FC. It's a bunch of black guys and then Cole Palmer and Cucurella. How many French players are there that he plays with? Disasi, Badiashile, Malo Gusto, and Cuckoo. There's probably other people as well that I just can't remember off the top of my head. Cole Palmer is half black. Ain't no way you don't like black people and then you go sign for Chelsea. I just don't believe, because you're surrounded by nothing but that. So it wouldn't make any sense to believe that he is racist. But ignorant, yes, right? A lot of Argentinians, we know in their country, their history is a little bit iffy. But I think Enzo would force this move. Respectfully, it's Chelsea that we're talking about here, right? Chelsea are not that big of a club where they can keep their players from us. I think if we reached out to Enzo and if we agreed personal terms, I think he forces the move. Now, again, this guy signed a death row contract, okay? He has like 9 years left. So we're definitely not going to get him for free. This is not a player that we can wait for his contract to run down, okay? Because that won't be until the next decade. But if he wants the move, it can happen. If Enzo does not force the move, then Chelsea will not sell. Because I believe he's very important for their team. Again, I think he's on the same level as Pedri. That deep-lying playmaker. I think he does more than Pedri, actually, when it comes to going forward, because he also crashes the box as well. If Chelsea had a better striker up front, if Chelsea had somebody that could put away the chances that Enzo creates, this guy would be leading the Premier League in assists right now. We have to understand the kind of profile that we're talking about. I don't care what anybody tells me. If Enzo Fernandez played for Barcelona, if he played for PSG, Bayern, or any of these other elite clubs around Europe, the way that people would talk about him would be a lot different. But because he's at Chelsea, and because they're struggling, and because maybe the Premier League does not suit him as much as maybe La Liga would, a lot of people just seem to slander him. You're crazy. I'm telling you right now, Enzo Fernandez would be an amazing signing for Real Madrid. Now, Fabrizio Romano did jump in, and he said that Chelsea insist on their plans to keep Enzo Fernandez despite the links with Real Madrid, no intentions to sell. He's considered a key part of the long-term project and also a leader in the dressing room. Yes, I know that Enzo is their co-captain, and this report doesn't necessarily surprise me. Of course they don't want to sell him. Because, again, who do you bring in to replace him? Again, it's a very hard profile to find. But if we reach out, because I don't think that there's been any contact between us and the player. If we reach out to his representatives, I think Chelsea are speaking from a point of view of the guy doesn't want to move. All I'm saying is think about it, right? Also, real quick, Enzo would be very attracted to joining Real Madrid. The problem is his price. And this is where I have to agree, right? How much money are Chelsea going to be expecting? Are they going to want, what, more money than what they paid for him? I think Enzo is worth max 100 million. I think if you want to view him as a Galactico, and if the club do like him that much, then you go spend that money, because that might be the only way to get him. But of course Enzo would be very attracted to coming to Madrid. The guy lives in London. I know London's the capital of the UK, and, you know, they got the busy city and all that, but it's nowhere near Madrid. This guy is South American. They grow up dreaming about playing for Real Madrid or Barca. They don't grow up planning on playing for Chelsea, okay? Like, that's not the first preference. Again, think about it. Go watch Enzo's highlights, right? Go watch his compilation. I watch a lot of this player because I do rate Chelsea in terms of the talent that they have. Chelsea have a lot of good talent. And Enzo is somebody that I identified early on. I wanted us to sign him before Chelsea did. But again, the money that they offered was ridiculous. We were never going to go in for that kind of bid, and we don't even sign players in January. So everything went against us. But look at his passing. It is phenomenal. Look at that assist that he got for McAllister when Argentina played Brazil. I'm telling you, fantastic player. And if we sign him, oh my days. Oh my goodness me. Let's see, though, how this story develops, because we know that the midfield needs to be addressed, kind of, but only for that Toni Kroos profile. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on those post notifications, and join the Discord. The link is pinned down below. Holla Madrid!